Let's take you to Polokwane now, where a taxi rank at a Mall of the North will officially reopen today. Authorities shut the rank almost a year ago following clashes by taxi associations over various routes. Limpopo transport officials and taxi associations have now sealed a new deal. For more on what's in the memorandum of agreement, our reporter Moloko Moloto is there and joins us now for the very latest. A very good morning to you, Moloko. And I mean, it's nothing new that we see these clashes between different associations across the country, but it's an important step taken today there in Limpopo that an agreement has been reached between various law officials as well as the associations operating in the region.
Well, indeed, we often know that oftentimes when the two elephants are fighting, it is the grass that suffers. So was the case here when the associations were, in a conflict over the routes, and as a result we saw the authorities coming down to shut down this particular taxi rank. And you can imagine the inconvenience that the commuters who rely entirely, I must say entirely, because in Polokwane you don't have a train. Yes, you do have the bus rapid transport system now, however it doesn't go to every part of the city. So the taxis are vitally important in the transportation of people who rely entirely on them. And of course, during that conflict, we saw the torching of 3 vehicles, including 2 taxis or minibus taxis. This happened in March, and this taxi rank was shut, as I indicated. But let's speak to Mr. Franz Ngwepe. He is the provincial chairperson of the South African National Taxi Council. Mashoko, thank you so much for making time. Maybe if you can just tell us what was the key issue that had caused the associations here to be on each other's throats.
Yeah, bothata ba mo ebe le di taxi tse pedi tse di wakishana ngola ishakamo. And asetaba ya hore ke di association himself. Bo bana ba reidi ba rena ba ba reng e benyi di taxi ba sona ba itiela boithatelo ka morenkeng. Mara re biditse di association tse uwe o tlo bolela le tsona ka hobane banamedi ba rena ebe ba safareya o tshela tsela o tshelela ko kwa bona mela taxi for batho ba baholo bo marena ke tlhora boroko e kgolokulu.
Do you then promise that going forward your members, your associations are going to get together and we are not going to witness the violence that we saw?
Yeah, re ntse le bona ba ba saena ditumellano di association ka ofela tjare o ka se tlosa bo le dikgotlhano ka mo ke khatlile go re our mayor be alona papa mbere saina re saine memorandum o ka ofela yona le nna se chairperson go lebella ka matlo a makhibidu re ke ska bona ntwe e di ala hape.
Mr. Franz Ngwepe, thank you so much for your time. Rafiwa, in a nutshell, he's saying that the conflict was not necessarily caused by the associations themselves, but by the taxi operators. But there is an agreement now, and that agreement, we understand, was brokered by the authorities. You might have heard him mentioning the name of John Mbe, the executive mayor. He joins us now. Sir, thank you so much for making time. You brokered the truce here. Maybe if you can tell us what is contained in the memorandum of agreement to a point that today we are seeing the reopening of this taxi rank.
Well, firstly, we are very much excited about the reopening of the rank. As you know, safe and reliable transport system is an integral part of building a better and a growing economy. So we are very much excited about this. We have brokered this agreement on the 14th of this month. We have signed the agreement with the Taxi Association, Sesheo Polokwane Taxi Association, Mankweng Taxi Association, as well as Flora Park Taxi Association and Westernburg Taxi Association. So this is all about making sure that there is peaceful coexistence and peaceful operation of the taxi operators here. And all the taxis will be operating, working together having their own queue marshals operating, ensuring that people are taken to various destinations. So we also want to take this opportunity as well to thank the management and of the Mall of the North for also coming to the party to ensure that we've got this reopening.
Okay. All right, thanks. I want us to go back, Executive Mayor. You have introduced as the city of Polokwane the bus rapid transport system. The buses are all over, we can see them. But of course, the next phase is supposed to be coming into place. And we are aware that sometime in July, the taxi operator actually interrupted the movement of those buses because they were unhappy with some of the things, accusing you as the city of reneging on some of the commitments. Apparently, you had promised that when you introduce the BRT, you would employ some of the taxi drivers to be driving these new buses. And they even threatened that the next phase that would see the BRT buses coming to areas such as this Mall of the North and expanding to other areas, they would not allow it until there's an agreement. Have you found one another there?
We have found one another. As you know, the system aimed to really bring the taxi owners into the mainstream economy in terms of the ownership of the operation of even the bus, Leeto la Polokwane. So we have actually reached an agreement. Also, there will be peaceful coexistence of buses as well as the taxi industry. So we have also agreed in terms of a program of action where we will also train them so that they understand how these buses are also going to benefit them, but also to understand the agreements that were signed in order to form ACLAX, which is the company that is operating Leeto la Polokwane. So with regard to that, there is also an agreement. And there's also a program that will start from February in terms of training, in terms of capacity building, but also in terms of doing benchmarking with other cities that are doing quite well. So we are excited that this is an overall agreement. It's not just about today, it's about the general operation of the taxi industry as a whole. So we believe that our buses as well will be operating side by side with the taxi operators, and there are certain issues that we need to address with them, and we are in a process to do so.
All right, finally, Executive Mayor, currently these BRT buses, Leeto la Polokwane they are called, they go to the Seshego Township. And I know the intention is to expand them to other townships such as Mankweng and even in areas such as Moleji, Maja, Gachweni. How far? When is the next phase? When the people of those areas that I have mentioned, when are they going to see buses coming to them? Because they are quite cheap, I must say.
Well, it is our intention to start the second phase, but however, there has been challenges, administrative challenges of corruption within the implementation of the BRT. We have appointed investigators to investigate the operation. As you know, the municipality paid for buses that were never delivered, part of the problem. And we have actually instituted an investigation so that those who are responsible will be held to account. So we can say that we will not move at the moment. We need to address the problem of the first phase, part of which related to procurement of buses and so forth. And we will make proper announcement once the outcome of the investigation has been presented to council.
I know I said that was the last question, but if there's one man in Polokwane who has executive authorities, you alone, Mr. John Mbe. This corruption, how did it happen, and who has been held accountable? I'm just saying political oversight, because if we are talking after the fact, somebody's going to say you should have put controls and measures in place. How did you get it so wrong?
We are investigating. As you know, it happened at the initial stage of the BRT, and as much as I was not the mayor at the time, and we've got a new municipal manager, the mayor, starting from last year, 2021, and we are investigating exactly what transpired with regard to that. And we cannot talk about who is accountable up until we get the outcome of the investigations.
All right, we've run out of time, but how much money are we talking about here?
May I not, but what I can tell you is that We've got money paid for buses that were not delivered, and we are investigating. There are also projects that we are not happy about their movement, including the depot, as well as the various other facilities of the BRT where project management issues have been raised also by the Auditor General about them. So we are investigating, and we will not make any further announcements.
You are investigating, and I certainly can promise you that we're going to be on your neck looking at how far the investigations are going. Well, Rofiwa, at least there is a bit of hope, because my assumption is that once the executive mayor cuts the ribbon here, these taxis will be able to move in, and the people, the residents, the customers of this particular mall and the people who work here, at least they will now have alternatives in terms of transportation.
Two important takeaways there, Moloko Moloto. The fact that the alternative, cheaper transportation is now available to community members there, but also the acknowledgement of the corruption by the executive mayor, the investigations, and also recouping the money and making sure that the executive is held accountable when it comes to these matters in the province.